Now, I've talked about this brand, Sofirn, a number of times on the channel. We did this when we were doing the 14500 double A's, but I also have 4 more flashlights to show you guys. So rather than doing individual videos, we're going to be showing all of them and talking about why you definitely want to consider looking at these flashlights before you buy your next one. Now, before I get started with this video where we discuss all of these different flashlights, I will mention that I have purchased each and every one of these flashlights. None of them have been sent to me by Sofirn. And that's an easy thing to do because, as we will show as we go through, the prices for these are obscenely reasonable. Very, very good for what you're getting. Maybe the best value flashlights currently on the market. So I will be flashing some of the current prices as we go through and talk about each of these flashlights, just to kind of give a good reference material. So let's start with the models that I've already reviewed once on this channel, and these are all the AA powered flashlights, but they also use the 14500, which is a lithium battery running at a much higher voltage, and because of that they can reach some pretty astounding levels of output. So this flashlight right here can reach 1000 lumens on turbo, and that is also true with the right angled version, which has the exact same user interface. And then the middle one, which is the SP10 Pro, will reach 900 lumens, but it uses the Endurial 2.0 user interface, which means it's completely customizable. So I will be putting a price for all 3 of these up on the screen, and that is going to be the current price as of the making of this video. Now, in addition to making AA powered flashlights, they have also basically what is the same setup, but for the CR123 sized flashlights. So we have the SC21, the SC21 Pro, and we also have the HS10. So nice little consistency here, and the user interface once again works the same way. So the SC21 and the HS10 both have the standard user interface, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And then of course the Pro models both have access to Endurial 2.0. Takes a little bit of a learning curve and some time to program it, but truly fantastic. So these will, this is currently in lockout, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these flashlights are fantastic. With an output of 1000 lumens for something like this, it is really amazing. Now, the big difference here between the AA powered flashlights and the CR123 variations is that these actually have USB Type-C recharging ports built into them. So that may be more your shtick, and you might want to consider these instead. But stat-wise, both on runtimes and otherwise, they're very similar, believe it or not. Except that when these use a CR123, they're going to be a higher output than these will run on a AA. But depending on what battery you have more access to might determine which flashlight you get. Now, the HS10 comes with a full headband kit to be used, as well as charging cables, lanyards, gaskets, and so on. The one thing I'm going to critique about Sofirn is the fact that it does not have spare silicone covers. I would really like to see in this kit some spare silicone covers instead of the lanyard, which frankly I've never used, nor have I seen anybody use personally. That might change, but I have about 1000 of these things, but I cannot replace that plastic rubber gasket myself. So that would be my number one critique, pretty much my only critique of these flashlights. Everything else is basically flawless. And now as I'm looking here, I'm wondering something, because I know that the base model for the SP10 V3 is not magnetic. Like, this is not magnetic. This is an upgraded tail cap. But I'm wondering, is the SC21 Pro? It is. It comes standard with the magnetic tail cap. That's pretty amazing. And so does the base model. And does this as well. it does. I mean, I'm just so impressed by these flashlights. When you look at the prices, and for these I will flash them up right now, it's just, I'm not sure who's competing in this category. There aren't many competitors that are offering the user interface, the high CRI, the output, the Type-C recharging, the quality. It's really, really hard to beat these flashlights. I'm genuinely, like right now, in my head at least, for budget flashlights, this right here is the brand to beat. And it gets even more impressive when we look at the last light for today, and that is the IF22. So this is nothing like the others. It is a 21700 powered flashlight, and it is designed to be what we would call a thrower. Now this battery is 5000 milliamps, okay? And it's going to power a emitter and lens combination that will let it focus the beam and project it at a really incredible distance. So these will reach almost 700 meters, okay? 700 meters. It has a maximum output of 2100 lumens, and it has over 115,000 candela. This is a monstrously powerful flashlight. And what you would use this for primarily is for searching an item. It creates a very tight beam with a lot of light so that you may not miss something that you're looking at a long distance. That is really what it's there for. It's also very good for emergency scenarios where you either want to get somebody's attention or you want to get somebody's attention. I guess it comes down to now either because you want to go to someone or you want them to come to you. So that's basically the big advantage of this style of flashlight. But that's not where this thing ends. This contains a feature that I want to see on every single flashlight of this size. And that's not the USB-C charging port, but it is using it. This flashlight can do reverse charging. So in addition to being a very useful tool in and of itself, it also functions as a waterproof, this is IPX8, a waterproof power bank that you can keep in your bag. So instead of keeping all of those other power banks, you can get half or almost a full charge on your cell phone from this flashlight if you need it. That's a huge, huge, huge bonus. Now the way that works is it comes with a cable that will charge it. Now this is USB-A to USB-C. If you use this style of cable, it will charge the flashlight. If you use a USB-C to USB-C, you will then force the electronics to reverse charge. So you will then charge the other item. Very simple way it works. And I've tested similar flashlights like this before, made by them actually, and it works. It works great. It's such a great option to have in the backup. Now, this is a different user interface than these other flashlights, so I'm going to spend most of my time talking about this. So for starters, it has a moonlight mode, so hold press will give you moonlight, and you might not think this is very useful, but I'm telling you, this is the one you're going to use most of the time if you're trying to do something indoors. There's just so much concentration of light with this. If you go too bright, it will blow out your vision. Now, that's one thing. Now, if I turn it off and turn it back on, we'll get the last memorized mode. And this, unlike some of the other flashlights we've talked about, is actually continuous. It has a steady ramping, but you can also change it to different modes, which are said in the manual. So by clicking it 4 times while on, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will now go to stepped mode. Just like that. And there's 3 modes in the middle. That's how it will be set up. Now from here, whether you're in ramped or stepped mode, you can then double press to get turbo, which is a truly astronomical amount of light. It's actually hard to look at it even from a, ouch, I can't see. All right, so it can do that, all right, as well. Now it also has, and this is important, it also has a strobe. I don't necessarily recommend it. I'm not sure in what context it's useful, but it is there with a triple press. Now, one thing I will critique on this flashlight is this is a perfect opportunity for them to have included a beacon mode and an SOS mode, which would be far more useful in my opinion than that tactical strobe. That is the kind of strobe or that I think is very, very useful, and it doesn't appear in the manual that is something that it offers. So the one thing I think they could do is maybe even get rid of the tactical strobe and then give access to those other types. So these are 7 flashlights made by Sofirn. They make so many more. But overall, when you compare them to the other brands out there, they're doing it at a lower price with better user interfaces, better emitters than I've seen pretty much anyone else using. So all of these right here, these 6, are using the exact same emitter. They're using the Samsung LH351D, which is a much more modern emitter than most people are using, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. You're going to get high CRI, you're going to get a 4 to 5,000 Kelvin temperature, and you're going to get high output. So it's just, you're not losing anything with these, especially when you compare them to other flashlights. They just leave them all in the dust. At this point, all I want to see from this brand when it comes to these sizes is I just want a tail switch capable version. I would love to have a tail switch capable SP10 V3. If they had these 2 flashlights with a tail switch, my God, that would be so incredible. I would love that. I am a huge fan as is. I like them as they are. And when you do that, you are giving up the magnetic attachment, so there is a downside to it. I go back and forth, but I think having the option for people who want that tail switch, I think would be a really good call. I don't think you need to have all of these models with the tail switch. Like, I think you could pick one, either the Pro or the regular, but either way, I think it's, that's something I think they could do. I don't have any other critiques. I don't know if there's much to critique with these. They don't have the greatest of reversible pocket clips, but at least it comes with a reversible pocket clip. And I will tell you right now that this is an essential component for my EDC. When I get up in the morning, and what I'll say about these is they do take a little finagling to get onto the brim of a hat. But when I get up in the morning and I work starting at 5 a.m., I need one. This is a necessity for me. So I'm glad that it at least comes with it. Now, I will also mention, and I mentioned in past videos, that the AA version actually is capable of using the O-Light clip, which is a little bit easier to use on this, and that is an excellent thing as well. Not much more to say other than these are some of the best value flashlights you'll ever get, and I don't think you could regret getting one. That's kind of my final thoughts on it. And you're going to be seeing this flashlight again in an upcoming video where we talk about backpack flashlights. I think having your backpack flashlight also be a power bank is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, right? Waterproof power bank. Enough said, right? Anyway, I really appreciate it. This is our first look at 7 different Sofirn flashlights, and yeah, I think you should check them out. Just my thoughts.